welcome to the first video of 2026. Oh my gosh, it's a new year, and I think I started this channel at the beginning of the year last year actually. But today we're going to be talking about all of the books that I read and or DNF'd in 2025. I wanted to do a really quick video of my reading wrap-ups for all of 2025. Since I got like my Libby set up this year, I've been listening to so many books and like DNFing a lot of them, don't get me wrong. But I wanted to talk about both the books I finished and all of my DNFs for this year. I'm just gonna get right into it. So I started first in May with So Let Them Burn, which I did a book review on. It's my first ever book review. So if you want a more detailed summary of that book, then go watch that video. But it's basically two sisters. There's like a dragon riding school. The other sister is like political intrigue, and I did finish that one. It was pretty good. The next one that I tried to listen to was The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I was trying to listen to this book on a road trip with my family in the car, and oh my god, like it was actually not as bad as people were saying, like that I've heard. And I kind of like listening to bad books anyway, so that's why I gave it a shot. But there are 6 different characters that all have like some sort of magical power. Like there's a plant girl and some other, like they have different powers. And there's this one girl character that like manipulates men, I guess, and her POV is so sexual, and like all she thinks about is like sex. It was insane. And at one point I put it on the like car Bluetooth and it went to her chapter and she started talking, and I was like, I cannot listen to this. Like it is like the sex talk is way too much for me. But the rest of it like was pretty intriguing. But I did DNF that. I think I got like maybe 4 hours into it. I don't know if I would revisit it, but uh, maybe skip that one person's POV. And the third book that I listened to, these are all actually, I listened to them all in audiobook. I haven't, I've only read one or two. I think I've read 2 physical books. But the next one that I listened to is called Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And there's this one book reviewer that I used to watch all the time and would always like sing her praises for this book. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's like Howl's Moving Castle, and it's magic, and it's like dark academia, and just like the Howl's Moving Castle part of it, it does kind of like the setting doesn't give that vibe at all, but the character that is supposed to be like Howl, yes, he is absolutely Howl, like for sure. But like the dark academia part of it, there was a certain part where the main girl works at like a library, or she works somewhere dark academia-esque. It doesn't last very long, but I have found that I don't really like when a character has to like go work somewhere for somebody to like get information, but they don't really get in any information. They just like sneak somewhere, and like they didn't have to work there to get the information, is like what I'm thinking of, I think. But I did finish that one and I wrote a whole review out for it. I just never recorded it and I don't know if I will. I guess you can let me know if you're interested in hearing about Sorcery of Thorns, but I don't know if I would talk about it. There's so many other books that I want to keep reading and like talk about them, and I don't really want to go back unless it was highly requested. The fourth book that I listened to is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, maybe. I Everybody that has read this book has loved this book. So I like went into it. I had it on hold. I had to wait like 2 or 3 months to even get this book in, and I was so excited. And oh my gosh, I loved the characters. I loved the Gideon character. I loved Nona. What is her Harrow Hark? That's like the love interest kind of. They have a sort of enemies to lovers, and if anyone has played Baldur's Gate, they kind of give like Karlach and Shadowheart maybe. But Gideon is definitely a Karlach character, and I did really enjoy listening to her perspective, but I did DNF this one. And I felt so bad for DNFing it, but there was just something about the setting I think that I didn't like. There's like a whole bunch of different planets. We're in a solar system. It's kind of sci fi. And these characters, these two main characters belong to like the Death Planet, and Harrowhark has necromancy magic, which I thought was really cool, but all of the characters from the different planets, like the princesses and princes or whatever, they all come together to like this main planet, this main castle of like the king that rules over everything. And I don't know, I didn't like the castle that we were in. And I would say that I usually enjoy like when we're stuck in like one setting the whole time and we're like in a town, or like the book isn't just us traveling the whole time. But I don't know, there's just something about it that I like couldn't quite like get hooked onto. And I don't know if I just wasn't listening to it like focusing on it enough. But I don't know. I DNF'd it. And I think I would definitely go back and try to listen to that one for sure. Okay, this is editing me coming back in, and I feel like I didn't like say my thoughts well enough, but almost feel like the plot wasn't really taking off. Like the plot started when we came to the castle, but the book was just Gideon interacting with the different characters. Like there wasn't any sort of plot. There was nothing hooking me that was like, oh my gosh, I need to see what happens next. I think that sums up a little more about what I was thinking about this book. Next, I listened to the First Crescent City book, House of Earth and Blood. I listened to that one. I think I did like a Sarah J. Maas video. And I also listened to a couple of her other books at that time because, like, you can pay absolutely no attention to what is going on, but and then like focus up and you still know what's going on. Like, they're very like a simple read. There was this other book that isn't in my history where at the beginning this girl like falls into the water and then she falls like down the stream and then she like kills a guy at knife point, and then she joins a band of mercenaries and they travel somewhere, and she falls in love with the like big tall mercenary. And I know that I watched a review on this before I read it, but I think majority of that review that I watched was like talking about how books are being like, you're not a victim, you're a survivor or whatever. It was, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I cannot remember the name of it to save my life. And I think I listened to a couple other bad books, maybe even like a Fourth Wing sequel, but none of those are in my history. But I listened to a lot of bad books. After that pretty long period of me just listening to bad books, I listened to Four Ruined Realms by Mai Corland, and I physically read Five Broken Blades, which is the first book in the series. I have a physical of that, and I think I read that last year. It's kind of Six of Crows, but like not really. Like I feel like the author was very much trying to emulate Six of Crows, but it just like doesn't feel quite right. But there's six different characters. There's a prince guy, didn't like him. There's like a captain of the guard. They're in love with each other. There is a thief. There is, oh my gosh, there's another girl. She can like ingest poison, but she's also like a courtesan, if you know what I'm saying. I can't think of the other word for that. But then there's the thief's love interest, which is like a big strong man. He's a mercenary. And the love interest for the courtesan girl is the son of the guy that owns her, like owns her indenture, which is insane. By the way, that's insane. But like they all come together in the first book to kill the immortal king, and that falls through at the very end. Spoiler. But then in the second book, the courtesan's love interest gets like locked away in jail, just like Matthias in Six of Crows. So like he's not really a character, and his perspective was bad. I didn't like hearing about him at all. But then instead of trying to kill the king in that one, they're trying to go to the queen of another realm and get her help to kill the king. And the whole story felt like each of the partners, the pairings of love interests, were being put in different scenes just for them to fall in love. I could just feel the entire time that the author just wants her characters to be in love with each other, and she just like is writing, and the plot is more of like a background to that. And the writing of it is just like so straightforward. Like there's like no description really of the setting, and it's very just like punchy is the best way for me to explain. After finishing Four Ruined Realms, I took a pretty long break, and I just listened to a lot of book reviews and a lot of podcasts instead of listening to actual books. I think I didn't read for like maybe a month or two long period, and in the book reviews that I was listening to, someone talked about Night Weaver. Oh my god, Night Weaver, dude. I like opened up the description for it on Libby, and it basically says Night Weavers are cursed beings. This is like a pirate book. There's like a pirate family, and they're on the ocean, and then the main character meets like a guy, obviously. And first off, she has like 6 siblings or something. She has an insane amount of siblings. There were so many names being thrown in my face. I didn't know anybody's name. I don't even know the name of the main character. Like, I don't remember. She just had so many brothers for absolutely no reason to, right? Like, she had a couple of younger siblings where it's like, I need to protect my younger siblings. And then she had like some older siblings. And really, she could have just had like one younger and one older, and that would have been completely fine. But anyway, they were pirates for all of like 20 pages. And then they were sold to like a person into like working for them. And like I said, for Sorcerer of Thorns, I don't like when like a person has to like go work for somebody else and the book is just them like completing their job. And the reason that they're having these jobs is very different, but I don't like they weren't pirates. What are you talking about? You kicked them off the water as soon as you could. They literally get boarded like 10 minutes in. Like it was something absolutely insane. I think that Nightweaver was the fastest DNF of my life. I was probably 8%, 10% maybe, and I was talking to the person next to me and I was like, "Do I DNF this book at 8%? She has like 20 siblings and this was advertised as pirate and she just got sold into slavery on land." And I DNF'd it. I returned it right after I opened it, which I feel is a little bit insane. And for the last book that I've read, I DNF'd this one. I DNF'd Nightweaver. I DNF'd this one. It is The Night and the Moth. This was a absolutely insane DNF from my part, personally. I got 80%, 80% into this book and I DNF'd it. And I was like, no, I need to finish it. Fight the demons, finish the book, please. It started off so good. Like, the main character, her name is Six. She is like, she's in this cathedral with 5 other girls, and basically the religion that they all believe in, these 6 girls were like chosen by the gods. They can kind of see visions of like good fortune or bad fortune, and they use these powers for like the prince or any person of nobility that can like pay for it. So the prince comes in, Six gets chosen, the priestess drowns Six in like the big water fountain. It's kind of like a baptism, is how I kind of thought of it. But they drown her, and then she gets visions of like really, really bad misfortune, which has like never really happened like that, obviously, before. So, like, everybody's freaking out, and then later that day, she is trying to sneak back into her quarters and she sees the prince, she sees the knight from the title, and they kind of like get a little banter going, the girl Six and the knight. And then the prince, his guard, and the knight, his guard, she's like captain of the knights, I guess. They they smuggle her out of the cathedral, and they go on like this mission hunting one of the gods that they find out isn't really a god. They're like false gods. So her whole perspective of everything changes. But during the book, like it's very much a slow burn of Six and the Knight, and they're falling in love, and it was so good. It was one of the best that I've listened to this year, if not the best. And then at 80%, the they kiss, the first kiss, and they immediately go into having sex. And then I skipped the sex chapter. Like, what do you mean? The entire time it's been a slow burn. They finally kiss, and then the slow burn is over. Like, you're not gonna like finish the book with them just kissing. So they fuck, and I skipped the chapter because I don't want to hear about that. And then for like the next two chapters after that, they're just talking about how they had sex. And they're like, oh my gosh, we should have sex again. Ha ha ha. Like, what do you mean? You slowly built this up. Like, I feel like we were on a roller coaster going up the hill, and like suddenly we're going straight up. Like, like, I don't even know if like that's what if like that's a good metaphor, but it just like completely took off. Like the build up was no longer building up. So I DNF'd it at 80%. I feel bad about it, but like I know what the end is gonna be. Like they're gonna kill the false god, and that they're gonna kill the other person that they need to kill. And that is all of the books that I read and DNF'd for 2025. Oh, I also read Adversity. I have a physical copy of that. I recorded a review and I'm editing that. I really, really liked Adversity. It's like a cowboy, like white shoes, I guess. It's a love triangle. It was so good. Oh, not a love triangle, like a throuple. Like, what is it called? Like, all of the sides of the triangle is connected and they're all in a relationship together. Now I'm thinking of reading The Night and Its Moon. I know. I have been like on such a Witcher kick, and my library doesn't have any of the Witcher audiobooks or anything. So I can't just listen to The Witcher, and I am also watching the show. By watching, I mean the first two seasons, and then I'm gonna stop. After that, they're no longer book accurate, and I also don't want to watch The Witcher without Henry. So, and there's this one YouTuber called Vera with like a W that I've been watching talk about The Witcher, and she hasn't posted any videos about like book 3 onward. So I'm going to read I'm going to read The Night and Its Moon, which is Witcher plagiarism, but I feel like there are no like long book review summaries of it that I can watch on YouTube. So I feel like I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna hopefully make a summary video about it. Just cause like I'm so curious. The only video that I've seen about it is just like talking about how bad it is, and I think it's gonna be so bad that it's good. Like a lot of other books that I listen to. But yeah, that's all I have to talk about for this wrap up and what book I am reading or am going to read. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. I will see you next time. Bye!